Al, do you want to come back up, or you? Al's been avoiding this. I don't know why. Senator, while he's coming back up, you guys, whoever gets elected, I think we need to pass a law that everybody has to run at least once. I got mine out of the way early, but you ought to have to stand in front of a podium and do this. So Al is going to direct his questions toward the Senate candidates.
Thanks, Brad. You'll be happy to know that we only had one question submitted for the Senate candidates.
Maybe they'll be happy.
Yeah, you'll be happy with that. So I'm going to make an executive decision here that because we only have one question, I think it's fair to give them a little extra time to, after this question, to address other concerns that they have or other reasons they want to run, maybe an additional 5 minutes each or something, if y'all are in agreement with that. So we could take them from the audience if anybody has any that weren't submitted. That's fine. The only question that was submitted says, Oklahoma has become known as a dumping ground by accepting oil field waste containing harmful materials that other states will not take. The Oklahoma Corporation Commission issues permits to put this material on county roads and pastures with little to no oversight. Many believe that this practice poses a real threat to wildlife, land, and water for current and future generations. If elected, what will you do to address this issue? And we're starting with the challenger, yes, correct?
Okay. Thank you. And before we get started, I would love to, I don't mean like to be a control freak and try to tell you what to do, but if we could take questions from the audience, that would be great, since we only have one, if that's okay with everyone. I think that'd make it really interesting and hear it from the source. But anyway, a lot of people get confused when we talk about oversight, especially in environmental matters. And I think that really scares a lot of people. You know, they think, well, if there's too much oversight, then we're not going to have enough business. That is true in most cases, except when it comes to our environment. Especially in rural Oklahoma. They have this, and of course you guys probably know this, but they have this, the way they drill for these oil and gas wells, which just lets you know the counties in District 31 were responsible for about 3% of all dry oil and gas wells that were completed wells. Okay, so in the big picture in terms of our state, not a lot of activity here. Okay, so but in our little area of Oklahoma, we still have the same processes for extracting this natural gas, and it's called fracking, and you use water to do this. And basically what it is you use high pressured water to break up rocks. This water is made with certain chemicals, and it's salt water. And what's left behind is a stuff called brine. And if you cook any at home, you've probably heard of that term brine. It's used to tenderize meat. And what this brine does, however, it's intended to go deep into the earth after it's gone through the rock to release the natural gas. And it's intended to go into wells that are underground wells for storage. But what the problem is that not all of it gets there. So, for example, in North Dakota, what they have, and just to let you know, North Dakota is the second leading producer of natural gas and oil next to Texas. But they have had sterilization of farmland. They have had livestock killed off, rivers polluted, because there was no oversight in our state. And we have to have oversight in our state, and we have to have the Corporation Commission to do that along with the Environmental Department. But the problem is we can't get it confused as citizens and say, well, if we have too much oversight, we're going to miss out on the business that oil and gas allows us to have, and the revenues that it allows us to have. There's a safe and there's a balanced way. With the technology that we have now, we can have the Corporation Commission in charge of that process, but we can also extract it safely and, more importantly, store that brine water safely as it's intended to do. A lot of the times, too, you know, referred to Oklahoma as a dumping ground. We leave it up to companies who drill for oil and natural gas to clean up their own mess. They have no interest in Oklahoma because most of these companies are out of state. So we have to have people from the Corporation Commission say, hey, look, if you're going to drill for the resources that we have, you're going to have to clean up your mess. These are things that as people we learned in kindergarten. And it should also be applied in business. But in terms of oversight, absolutely we should have more oversight. But that should not be confused with running future business off from our state in terms of oil and natural gas production.